You were not trained to think. You were trained to comply. From childhood, you were rewarded for obedience, punished for curiosity, and praised for silence. This audiobook exposes these psychological frameworks quietly removed from your education, not because they are dangerous, but because they make you ungovernable. What you are about to hear is not motivational. It is corrective. If you listen fully, you will never hear authority, confidence, or control the same way again. Chapter 1. Obedience is installed, not natural. Let's get something straight. Right now, you were programmed. I don't mean that in some vague philosophical sense. I mean it literally, mechanically, like software uploaded onto blank hardware. From the moment you could understand language, the process began. The goal? To install the operating system of obedience, to make compliance your default setting, to make questioning feel unnatural and submission feel normal. And it worked. It works so well that you don't even feel the code running. You just follow it. You live inside its boundaries and call them common sense. You hear its voice in your head and call it your conscience. But it's not yours. It was given to you, installed, through relentless, repetitive, tactical conditioning. That's the key. Obedience is installed, not natural. Think about a toddler. What's their natural state? It's no. It's why. It's grabbing, testing, pushing, screaming to get what they want. Their instinct is sovereignty. Their drive is to explore and conquer their world. They don't ask for permission. They take. Now look at yourself. What happened? Where did that defiant, boundary-testing, authority-questioning creature go? It was trained out of you. Not with malice necessarily, often with love, with concern. Don't touch that, it's hot. Get down from there, you'll fall. Be quiet, wait your turn. Do as you're told, because I said so, layer by layer. Repetition by repetition. The first time you're told to sit still, you squirm. The 10th time, you sigh. The 100th time, you don't even think of standing up. The command becomes the norm. The external rule becomes an internal rule. The voice of the parent becomes the voice in your head. Compliance is conditioned through repetition, not logic. They didn't sit you down at age 5 and win a philosophical debate about the merits of following rules. They didn't have to. They used repetition. They used social reinforcement. They used the clear, sharp language of reward and punishment. Good boy, good girl. Time out. Go to your room. Anzi. You're so well behaved. What will people think? It was a drip feed. A constant low-grade pressure that shaped you. It wasn't one dramatic moment. It was 10,000 tiny moments. Each one a lesson: fit in, follow, please, wait, ask, obey. The logic came later. The logic came later. Your brilliant adaptive mind, desperate to make sense of the world, retroactively applied logic to the conditioning. You created reasons for the rules after you'd already learned to follow them. You told yourself you were quiet in the library because it's respectful, not because you were shushed into silence for a decade. You told yourself you follow the procedure at work because it's efficient, not because you were broken of your desire to innovate by a school system that punished wrong answers. You rationalized the programming. That's how it survives. That's how it stays in power. You defend it for them. Authority works best when it feels normal, not when it feels oppressive, not when it feels dramatic, when it feels like the air you breathe, invisible, unquestionable, just the way things are. Think about the sheer number of invisible rules you follow every single day without a single conscious thought. How you stand in a queue, how you dress for a certain event, the tone of voice you use with a boss versus a friend, the space you leave between you and a stranger, the paperwork you fill out, the boxes you tick. You weren't born knowing any of that. You were taught, trained, the authority of social norm, of institutional process, of hierarchy. It baked itself into your nervous system until it became instinct. A well-installed authority doesn't need to brandish a weapon. It just needs to look at you with mild disappointment. It just needs to have a form that's slightly confusing. It just needs to imply the words, "This is just how it's done," and you fall in line. Because the installation is complete. The software runs. The path of least resistance is obedience. It feels normal. It feels easy. It feels obvious. And that's the greatest trick ever played on you. If it feels obvious, it was trained. Let that sink in. The things that feel most natural, most automatic, most just the way it is, those are the deepest trainings, the most successful installations. Walking on a sidewalk feels obvious, but you were trained not to walk on the grass. Speaking only when called on feels obvious, but you were trained to silence your curiosity. Asking for permission feels obvious, but you were trained that your desire requires a stamp of approval. The feeling of obviousness is the hallmark of a finished installation. It's the signal that the training is complete. The behavior has moved from conscious competence to unconscious habit. You don't think about it, you just do it. And because it feels obvious, you never question it, you defend it. You see someone else breaking the obvious rule, and you feel the discomfort. You might even feel compelled to correct them, to enforce the very programming that cages you. The prison guard is now inside your own head. That's the end goal of the installation, to make you the guardian of your own limits, to make the walls so familiar they feel like safety, to make the chain feel like a necklace. Obedience survives by being invisible. It doesn't want a spotlight. It hates drama. It thrives in the dull, the mundane, the routine. It hides in your automatic thoughts, your default responses, your silent assumptions. When you automatically apologize for taking up space, when you immediately doubt your idea because no one asked for it, when you feel a pang of guilt for saying no to an unreasonable request, when you seek validation before you act, that's obedience, not the dramatic, knee-bending kind. The invisible, operational kind. You dress the jailer in the clothes of virtue. And so the system perpetuates. You obey, and you teach others to obey, and the world becomes a machine of quiet compliance. Innovation dies in the draft folder. Revolutions die in the "I should really." The extraordinary life you sense is possible dies in the daily, invisible, obedient routines. So here is your first and most critical task. You must start seeing the installation. You must bring the invisible to light. You must take nothing for granted. Every obvious rule, every normal procedure, every automatic behavior must be dragged in front of the jury of your own conscious mind. Ask the terrifyingly simple question: who installed this? Why do I believe this? Why do I do this way? What would happen if I didn't? Who benefits from my compliance here? You have a choice. You always have a choice. But you can't choose if you don't know what's running the show. You can't choose if you mistake your programming for your personality. The first act of freedom is not rebellion. It's recognition. It's seeing the code. It's realizing you were programmed for compliance, not for power. That's the key. You were programmed for compliance, not for power. The system you live in didn't need you powerful. It needed you predictable, manageable, useful. It installed the software that made you that way. Your job starting now is to run a diagnostic, to scan for foreign code, to identify every single obvious behavior and trace it back to its source. This isn't about blaming your parents, your teachers, your bosses. This is about taking responsibility for the rest of your life. They were running their own programming. The cycle continues until someone has the guts to stop, to look, to question. That someone is you. Or you can close this chapter, go back to your normal day, and let the software run. You can choose the comfort of the obvious, the safety of the normal. But you feel that itch, don't you? That tension, that's your natural hardware conflicting with the compliance software. That's the original you. The toddler who said no. And why? Still in there, buried under layers of conditioning. He's waiting. She's waiting. They're waiting for you to see the walls not as the world, but as the installation. Your obedience is not a character trait. It is a conditioned installation. It survives because it feels normal and obvious. Your first step toward freedom is to become an archaeologist of your own behavior, to dig up and examine every obvious rule you follow. Nothing is sacred until you consciously choose it. The prison is invisible, but you just felt the first bar. Now the real question becomes, What do you find when you start digging? What are the specific daily programs that run your life? That's where we go next, to the source code of your stagnation. Chapter 2. The mind accepts what it repeats. Here's a lie you tell yourself every day. I choose what I believe. You don't. Your beliefs aren't chosen. They're absorbed. They're drip-fed. They're hammered into you through a single relentless mechanical process, repetition. The mind isn't a fortress of logic. It's a sponge of repetition. It doesn't care about truth. It cares about familiarity. Whatever it hears, sees, and feels on a loop becomes its reality. The repeat button is the most powerful button in the universe. It built every society, every religion, every culture, and every single one of your limitations. Repetition bypasses resistance. Think about the first time you heard an idea that challenged you. Maybe it was about money, about success, about what's possible for someone like you. You resisted. You pushed back. That's not true. That's not how it works. That's for other people. Then you heard it again from a different source. Then you saw it reflected in a movie. Then your friend mentioned it casually. Then the news implied it. 20 repetitions later, that idea doesn't feel foreign anymore. 50 repetitions later, it starts to feel plausible. 100 repetitions later, it feels like a fact. Your own fact. The resistance wasn't overcome by evidence. It was worn down by exposure. Like water carving a canyon. The conscious critical you checked out after the 5th trip. The subconscious impressionable you kept receiving. And it accepted. That's how they got you. That's the key. They didn't convince you. They repeated you into submission. Every limiting belief you carry, it's selfish to charge more. I'm not a natural leader. Real success requires sacrifice. Wasn't installed by a single traumatic event. It was installed by 1,000 minor repetitive whispers. From parents, teachers, TV, songs, the resigned sighs of people who gave up. The loop played, and you absorbed it. Familiar ideas feel true even when false. This is the hidden mechanism, the mind's fatal flaw. It uses familiarity as a shortcut for truth. If an idea feels familiar, the brain tags it as probable and safe. It stops scrutinizing. It conserves energy. This feels known, therefore it must be correct. But what made it familiar? Repetition, not verification, not proof, just repetition. You believe the world is dangerous because the news loop repeats stories of crime and chaos 24 hours a day. The repetition of the message makes it feel true, even if your actual lived experience on your street is peaceful. You believe you're not good enough because your internal loop, the one installed by past criticism, repeats the old tapes. You could have done better. Who do you think you are? That repetitive self-talk feels familiar, so it feels true. It's not truth. It's just a worn-in groove in your psyche. A psychological rut. You keep falling into it because it's the deepest path, not because it's the right one. Media, schooling, and routine as psychological loops. Let's name the 3 main repetition engines that built your mental prison. First, the media loop. It's not information, it's incantation. It picks a narrative, a fear, a desire, an enemy, a trend, and repeats it across every channel, every screen, every headline. It doesn't debate. It doesn't present balanced arguments. It chants. The goal isn't to inform you, it's to normalize an idea within you, to make a perspective so ubiquitous it becomes your own. You start to believe the world is that small, that scary, that shallow, because that's the only picture on repeat. You don't need their permission to turn it off. Second, the schooling loop. This wasn't education, it was calibration. Sit down. Be quiet. Listen. Memorize. Repeat back. Wait for the bell. Ask for permission to pee. Your reward was for conformity, not for curiosity, for repeating the right answer, not for asking a better question. For 12 years, the loop repeated. Follow instructions, seek external validation. Avoid wrong answers. The bell itself was the ultimate trainer, conditioning you to segment your life into obedient, manageable blocks of time, waiting for an external signal to tell you when to move. That loop is still running. You're still waiting for the bell to start your life. You're still looking for the teacher to give you an A. Third, the routine loop. This is the most insidious one. Your daily routine isn't just a series of actions. It's a daily rehearsal of your beliefs. You hit snooze, rehearsing the belief that your dreams aren't worth waking up for. You scroll through social media first thing, rehearsing the belief that other people's curated lives are more important than your own real one. You commute to a job that drains you, rehearsing the belief that your time is cheap and your freedom is for weekends only. Every repeated action is a vote for a belief. You are chanting your own limitations into existence every single day. These loops form a trinity of conditioning. They work together. The media tells you what to want and fear. Schooling taught you how to obey and seek permission. Your routine daily reaffirms it all. It's a closed system, a self-perpetuating machine. And you're inside it, thinking you're thinking for yourself. What you hear daily becomes law internally. That's the non-negotiable law of your mind. The internal becomes the external. But first, the external, through daily repetition, becomes internal law. The gossip you listen to daily becomes your law about people. The complaints you voice daily become your law about your job. The news you consume daily becomes your law about the future. The doubts you entertain daily become your law about yourself. You are governed by whatever chorus you listen to on repeat. So ask yourself this brutal question. What are my daily repetitions? What phrases do I hear at work, at home, in my own head? What stories does my media diet feed me hour after hour? What tiny routine actions am I performing that reinforce a story of helplessness, of delay, of compromise? That's the key. You aren't just believing ideas. You are obeying rhythms. You are a creature of rhythm and loop. Right now, you are dancing to a beat composed by other people's agendas. You have a choice. You always have a choice. But it's not a one-time choice. It's a daily, moment-by-moment choice of what you will repeat. You must become the ruthless editor of your own loops. You must change the channel. You must rewrite the routine. You must disrupt the chant. Start here today. Conduct a loop audit. For one day, become a spy in your own life. Carry a notepad, use your phone. Document the repetitions. What is the first thought that repeats in your head when you wake up? What is the constant topic of conversation in your office kitchen? What is the narrative of the podcasts, shows, or music you listen to? What is the story you tell about why you can't every single time an opportunity flashes by? Write it down. All of it. You will be horrified. You will see the same sentences, the same fears, the same excuses on repeat. You will see the source code of your stagnation. It's not complex. It's a broken record. Then you break the record, literally. You stop the old loop. You don't argue with it. You don't try to believe the opposite. You just stop the repetition. You shut off the news source. You walk away from the complaining colleague. You catch the old thought, and you do not finish the sentence. You leave it dangling in that silence, that empty space. You have a moment of freedom. Then you consciously install a new single repetition. One phrase, one action, one new piece of data. You repeat it. You don't have to feel it. You just have to say it, do it, expose yourself to it. I am capable of figuring this out. A single focused hour of work before you check your phone. A podcast that teaches instead of numbs. You will feel ridiculous. Your mind will scream that it's a lie. That's just the old loop fighting for survival. It has no power except the power you give it by repeating it. Starve it. Feed the new one. Repetition bypasses resistance. Use the weapon against itself. Your mind is a repetition engine. It accepts what it hears on loop as truth. The media, your past schooling, and your daily routines are psychological loops that installed your limits. To change your life, you must first change your loops. Audit what repeats in your world. Then, with brutal discipline, shut down the old channels and put a new message on repeat. You are the programmer now. But this raises the inevitable, terrifying question. If you stop repeating the old scripts, who are you without them? What's left when the noise stops? That silence is where we go next, to the empty space where your real self has been waiting. Chapter 3. Confidence is a signal, not a trait. Let's destroy a myth. Right now, you think confidence is something you're born with, or something you earn. You think it's the reward for being correct, for being skilled, for being ready. You're wrong. Confidence isn't a trait. It's not a personality type. It's a signal. A biological, psychological, social signal that your brain and the brains of everyone around you are wired to obey. You've been waiting to feel it before you act. That's your first mistake. You're waiting for a feeling that is generated by the action. You have it backwards. The feeling follows the signal. You broadcast the signal first. Here's the raw mechanical truth. The brain follows certainty, not correctness. Your brain, their brains. Every brain in the room is a certainty detection machine. It's looking for a clear, unambiguous signal to follow. It's lazy. It wants to conserve energy. When it detects certainty, a steady voice, a direct gaze, a firm posture, it interprets that as leader, safe, follow. It does not pause to verify if the certainty is justified. It doesn't run a fact check. It obeys the signal. Think about a group of people lost in the woods. Who becomes the leader? It's not the one with the best map. It's the one who says, "This way," with the fewest hesitations, even if they're walking in a circle. The group's brain stems would rather follow a wrong direction with certainty than the right direction with doubt. Because certainty signals safety. Doubt signals danger. Your entire life you've been trying to be correct, to have all the answers, to be beyond critique. You thought that would make you confident, but the world doesn't follow the correct. It follows the certain. The person who speaks first in a meeting owns the frame. The person who names the price first sets the anchor. The person who declares the vision attracts the followers. They aren't more right than you. They are more certain. They understand the signal, and you're stuck in your head, polishing your logic, while they broadcast a signal that commands obedience. That's the key. You are broadcasting a signal every second you are in a room, on a call, in a conversation. The question is, what are you transmitting? Is it the signal of certainty, or is it the signal of hesitation? Hesitation invites dominance. This is non-negotiable. In the animal kingdom of human interaction, hesitation is blood in the water. It's a vulnerability. It's an open invitation for someone else to take control, to decide for you, to speak over you, to claim the territory you left undefended, your ums and ahs, and just wondering if maybes are not just filler words, they are dominance concessions. Every time you hesitate, you are whispering to the social hierarchy, "I am not sure, someone else should lead." When you pause before answering a simple question about what you do, you invite them to categorize you as unsure. When you frame your idea as "this might be stupid," but you have already labeled it as prey. When you ask for permission to speak, to act, to take a seat at the table, you are submitting before the conflict even begins. Hesitation is the audible signature of obedience. It's the software from Chapter 1, running its seek approval protocol. You are waiting for the bell. You are waiting for the teacher to call on you. And here's the secret they don't teach you. Authority is projected before it is earned. You do not get the title and then become authoritative. You act with authority and the title follows. You do not get the client's trust and then speak confidently. You speak confidently and their trust follows. The projection precedes the proof. The signal creates the reality. Look at any leader, any successful entrepreneur, any compelling figure. At the beginning, they had nothing more than you have now. Less sometimes. What they had was the understanding of the signal. They decided to project the authority of the person they needed to become. They faked the signal until their nervous system believed it, and until the world responded to it. They stood like they owned the room before they paid the rent. They spoke like they were an expert before they had the credentials. They charged like they were valuable before they had the portfolio. They understood. The world doesn't give you authority. You claim it through your signal. You announce it with your presence. You defend it by eliminating hesitation. This isn't about being a fraud. It's about understanding the rules of the game. You've been playing a game of proof first. You bring your receipts, your diplomas, your carefully prepared notes. And you watch someone with half your proof walk away with the prize, the partner, the deal. They were playing a different game. Signal first. It's time to change games. The calm voice wins before the smart one. Memorize this. Internalize it. Your intelligence is your tool. Your certainty is your weapon. A frantic genius speaking 1,000 brilliant words a minute will lose to a calm person speaking 10 slow, assured sentences. Why? The calm voice signals control over the situation and over themselves. The frantic voice signals panic. It signals the system under threat. The calm voice says, I have handled this before. The frantic voice says, this is overwhelming me. Which leader would you follow? Which consultant would you hire? Which partner would you trust? Your goal is not to be the smartest person in the room. Your goal is to be the calmest, because the calm center becomes the gravitational pull. Everyone orbits it, decisions flow to it, respect accrues to it. This is a physical, trainable skill. It's not magic, it starts with your physiology. You cannot broadcast a calm signal if your body is in a state of threat. Your heart is pounding. Your breath is shallow. Your shoulders are up by your ears. Your body is screaming danger and you're trying to use your mouth to say, I'm in control. The signal is mixed. The body wins. So you start with the body. You hack the signal at the source. Here is your training starting today. 1. Lower your voice. In any interaction that matters, consciously drop your vocal pitch by 20%. A lower, slower voice is physiologically linked to dominance and calm in every human culture. It is an immediate signal shift. 2. Breathe out first. Before you speak, especially under pressure, take a slow breath out. Empty your lungs, then let the air flow in naturally. This halts the panic breath cycle. It creates a pause that looks deliberate, not hesitant. 3. Claim space, sit back. Don't lean forward eagerly, don't make yourself small. Widen your stance, rest your arm. Occupy the physical territory you are in. Your body language is the first chapter of your signal. Write it with authority. 4. Speak last. In a pause, wait. Let the silence hang for 2 seconds longer than is comfortable. The urge to fill silence is the urge to please. Break it. Your calm comfort with silence is a power signal. Then speak. 5. Eliminate apologetic language. Scrub your speech of sorry to bother you, just wanted to. I'm no expert, but. Replace it with declarative statements. I've reached a conclusion. My perspective is. The next step is. You don't need their permission to have an opinion. Practice this like a drill, not when it's easy. Practice it at the coffee shop. Practice it ordering food. Practice it on a pointless conference call. You are not practicing for the big moment. You are practicing to rewire your nervous system, to make the signal of calm certainty your new default setting. You have a choice. You are choosing your signal every second. You can choose the signal of hesitation, of seeking, of needing approval. You can transmit the frequency of a subordinate, or you can choose the signal of calm, declarative certainty. You can transmit the frequency of a leader. The world responds to the signal you broadcast. That's the key. The world responds to the signal you broadcast. It doesn't know your inner doubts. It only knows the data you provide. Provide the data of control. Stop waiting to feel confident. Start broadcasting the signal of confidence. The feeling will catch up. The results will follow. Confidence is not a feeling you wait for. It is a signal you choose to broadcast. The brain, yours and others, follows certainty, not correctness. Hesitation is an invitation for others to dominate you. By mastering your physiology, your voice, your breath, your posture, you project authority before you've earned it. The calm voice wins. Start transmitting the signal of control and watch the world align. But this power creates a new problem. Once you start broadcasting this signal, the old authorities, the old systems, will push back. They need you hesitant. They benefit from your doubt. So what happens when you stop giving them what they need? That's the war we walk into next. Chapter 4. Guilt is the leash. You felt it, didn't you? In the last chapter when we talked about claiming space, about broadcasting authority, about stopping the hesitation, a part of you recoiled. A quiet, insistent voice in the back of your mind whispered, Who do you think you are? That voice wasn't doubt. It wasn't logic. It was guilt. Guilt is the final and most effective guard at the gate of your prison. It's the invisible fence. They installed it so you would police yourself. So you would stop yourself from going too far, from wanting too much, from becoming too powerful. Obedience survived by being invisible. Guilt is the invisible leash. You feel it as a knot in your stomach, a tightness in your chest. A vague, haunting sense that you're doing something wrong by wanting more, by saying no, by putting yourself first. That feeling isn't a moral compass. It's a control mechanism. Guilt keeps capable people controllable. Think about it. A weak person is controlled by threats. A strong person is controlled by conscience. If you're capable, resourceful, intelligent, you can't be managed with a stick. You'd see it coming. You'd resist. So they use a subtler tool. They tie your ambition to your morality. They link your desire for more to the fear of being bad. A good son feels guilty leaving the family business. A good team player feels guilty charging their full worth. A good partner feels guilty working late on their dream. A good person feels guilty for being selfish. See the pattern? Your capability is neutered by your own goodness. The leash isn't around your neck. It's woven into your heart. You stop yourself. You hold yourself back. Because to move forward would feel like a moral failure. That's the key. They swapped chains for conscience. They made your ambition feel unethical. You are not struggling with a lack of skill. You are struggling with a programmed moral conflict. A part of you believes that success, real unabashed success, requires being an asshole. So you choose to stay mediocre because you want to be a good person. That's the trap. That's the genius of it. Moral pressure replaces physical force. No one has to stand over you with a whip. Your own mind does the whipping. They trained it to. Think of the others. Don't be greedy. It's a team effort. We're all in this together. Remember where you came from. These aren't just phrases. They are moral triggers. They activate the guilt software. They make your individual desire feel like a betrayal of the tribe. So you shrink. You share the credit you earned. You accept less than you deserve. You stay in the lane that was assigned to you, because to accelerate would be to leave people behind. And a good person doesn't do that. But who defined good? The system that benefits from your compliance. The people who get to stay comfortable because you're too guilty to disrupt the peace. The family that gets your free labor because you're too guilty to set a boundary. The company that gets your undervalued work because you're too guilty to demand a raise. Their comfort is maintained by your guilt. Their stability is subsidized by your sacrifice. You have a choice. You can fund their comfort with your life, or you can call the debt due. You don't need their permission to be paid in full. Shame enforces obedience without supervision. Guilt is about action. I did something bad. Shame is about identity. I am something bad. This is the upgrade. The nuclear option. Shame doesn't just make you regret a choice. It makes you believe you were fundamentally wrong for wanting it in the first place. You feel shame for your ambition, shame for your anger, shame for your desire for more money, more power, more freedom. Shame is the internalized prison warden. It works 24/7. It doesn't need a manager, a parent, or a partner to activate it. You carry it with you. It whispers that your very nature is too much, that your hunger is a defect, that your drive is a disorder. So you apologize for your intensity. You hide your earnings from your family. You downplay your achievements so others don't feel small. You deliberately fail to avoid outshining someone. You are enforcing the system's rules on yourself from the inside. You are the obedient citizen and the secret police all in one. Supervision is unnecessary. You are self-regulating. You are self-limiting. You are self-censoring. All powered by shame. If you feel bad for wanting more, control succeeded. Let's be brutally clear. That pang you feel when you imagine a bigger life. A bank account that changes your family's trajectory. A level of authority that commands respect. That pang is not a sign you're wrong. It's a sign the installation is working perfectly. The system isn't afraid of your failure. It's terrified of your unleashed, unapologetic success. because that proves the rules are optional. That proves the leash can be broken. So it made your ambition feel dangerous. It made your hunger feel like a sin. Your desire for more is natural. It is biological. It is the drive of life itself. To grow, to expand, to build. They pathologized it. They called it greed, selfishness, delusions of grandeur. So you feel bad for wanting what you are literally designed to want. You feel guilty for pursuing the very thing that would make you a more capable, resilient, impactful human being. You have been tricked into believing that your light is a fire hazard. That ends now. Your first task is to perform guilt autopsy. Next time you feel that knot, when you send the invoice, when you set the boundary, when you declare the big goal, stop, don't run from it. Interrogate it. Ask the feeling these questions out loud. 1. Who benefits from me feeling this way right now? Trace the feeling. Does it serve your boss's bottom line, your parents' emotional comfort, your partner's avoidance of change? 2. What ancient rule am I breaking? Is it children should be seen, not heard? Money is the root of all evil. Pride comes before a fall. Name the installed commandment. 3. If I no longer felt this guilt, what action would I take? This reveals the hidden door. The action you're avoiding is exactly the action you need to take. Second, you must practice strategic selfishness. You must recalibrate your moral compass. You must define good not as self-sacrifice, but as self-command. A leader who is depleted is useless. A creator who is bankrupt is powerless. A parent who has no dreams models compliance, not courage. Start small, but start ruthlessly. Block 1 uninterrupted hour for your work. Guard it like it's a meeting with the CEO, because it is the CEO of your life. Keep one achievement to yourself. Don't dilute it by sharing it for cheap validation. Spend money on something that only improves your capability. A course, a tool, a service, without justifying it to anyone. Say I want without appending if that's okay with everyone. You will feel the leash tighten. The guilt will scream. That's how you know you're pulling against it. That's how you know it's working. The pain is the feeling of a weakening chain. You have a choice. You can obey the guilt and live a life of quiet compromise for the comfort of others. Or you can accept the temporary discomfort of the guilt, walk through it, and claim the freedom on the other side. The leash only works if you believe it's connected to your soul. It's not. It's connected to your training. You can slip it. Guilt is not your conscience. It is the invisible leash of control. It keeps you manageable by making your ambition feel like a moral failure. To break free, you must perform a guilt autopsy, interrogating who benefits from your feeling, and practice strategic selfishness, redefining good as the full command of your own capability. The guilt is a sign you're pulling against the leash. Keep pulling. But once you drop the leash, you face the void. No one is holding you back. The old excuses are gone. Now the only thing between you and the life you want is a new, terrifying question. What will you build with your freedom? That's where true power begins and where most people freeze. Chapter 5. Approval is the most effective drug. You've dropped the leash. You're pulling against the guilt. You're broadcasting a new signal. And now you hit the real wall. Not a wall of fear, a wall of silence. The applause doesn't come. The head nods stop, the likes dry up, the room gets cold. The invitations fade. You feel a deep primal chill, the chill of exile, of being outside the tribe. This feeling will break you faster than any fear because fear triggers fight or flight. This feeling triggers surrender. It triggers a desperate crawling need to get back inside, to be welcomed, to be approved. Let's name the drug you're addicted to: approval, social validation, belonging, being seen as good, right, and acceptable. This isn't a mild preference. This is a neurological addiction. It rewires your brain. It dictates your behavior. And it is the most sophisticated control system ever devised. Social validation rewires behavior faster than fear. Fear tells you, don't do that or you'll get hurt. Approval tells you, do this and you'll be loved, which is more powerful. For a social animal like a human, the threat of exclusion is a death sentence. In our ancient past, Banishment meant starvation, predation, death. That circuitry is still live. Your brain equates social approval with survival. It equates disapproval with existential threat. That's why you can withstand someone yelling at you, but you crumble under silent disapproval. That's why you can lose money and recover, but the sting of public ridicule lasts for years. That's why you'll abandon a core belief to win a smile from someone you don't even respect. The drug isn't pleasure. It's the removal of the pain of exclusion. Every like, every attaboy, every inclusion in the group chat is a hit that temporarily numbs the ancient fear of being cast out, and they know it. The system is built on it. Likes, praise, and status condition compliance. Think about the mechanics. From childhood, good boy for sitting quietly, a gold star for following instructions, praise for being easy. You were taught that your worth is a currency paid out by authorities for compliant behavior. Now the interface is upgraded, the like button, the follower count, the performance review, the job title, the car you drive, the neighborhood you live in. These are all approval delivery systems. They are dopamine dispensers for compliant behavior. You post a humble, self-deprecating joke. Likes, you voice the popular acceptable opinion. Retweets, you buy the branded item that signals you belong to the tribe. Status, you are being operantly conditioned like a lab rat. Press the lever of conformity, get a pellet of social validation. The system doesn't need to punish you, it just withholds the pellets. The sudden silence, the absence of approval is punishment enough. You'll scramble to get back in line. That's the key. You are chasing pellets. You have confused the pellet with the prize. The real prize is your freedom, your sovereignty, your unfiltered expression. But you traded it for a steady drip of validation pellets. People obey to remain included. Look at your life. Where do you bite your tongue? Where do you laugh at a joke that isn't funny? Where do you wear the uncomfortable clothes? Say the hollow slogans, attend the pointless meetings. You do it to remain included. In the group, in the circle, in the in crowd, at the family table. In the company's high potential list, inclusion is the bait, obedience is the price. You obey the unwritten dress code to stay in the professional tribe. You obey the ideological fashion to stay in the social tribe. You obey the family's limiting narrative to stay in the blood tribe. You swap your authentic thought for a tribe-approved thought. You exchange your unique path for a well-trodden, validated path. You surrender your controversial truth for a comfortable shared lie. Because the thought of standing alone, truly alone, with only your own conviction for company, is terrifying to the social animal brain. It screams that you are in danger, so you run back to the center of the crowd, even if the crowd is walking off a cliff. Belonging is traded for freedom. This is the non-negotiable transaction, the bargain you make every day. You are trading slices of your freedom for crumbs of belonging. You are selling your sovereignty for membership. The cozy office job with the approved career path, that's belonging. Trading the freedom of your untested potential for the security of the tribe's recognition. The family gatherings where you swallow your truth, that's belonging. Trading the freedom of your authentic voice for the comfort of harmony. The social media persona you curate, that's belonging. Trading the freedom of your messy, real self for the validation of the digital tribe. You have a choice, but it's a brutal one. Do you want to belong or do you want to be free? You cannot have both in full measure. The tribe demands conformity as the price of admission. Freedom requires the willingness to be expelled. You don't need their permission to be free, but you must accept their disapproval as the cost. This isn't about becoming a hermit. It's about changing the source of your validation. It's about shifting from external approval to internal authority. Right now your compass is outside of you. It spins based on who's in the room. You need a compass that points true north regardless of the weather. That compass is your own conviction. Here is your detox protocol. Starting today, 1. Conduct an approval audit. For 1 week, track every decision, big and small. From what you wear to what you say in a meeting to what you post online. For each one, ask, was this primarily for me Or was it for someone else's approval? Write it down. The pattern will horrify you. You are a performer in a play written by committee. 2. Practice deliberate disapproval. You must build immunity. You must expose yourself to the pain of mild social rejection in a controlled way. Do one thing each day that is authentically you that you know will not earn approval. Wear the odd socks. Voice the minority opinion in a low-stakes setting. Admit you don't like the popular movie. Say no to an invitation with no excuse. Feel the chill. Sit with it. Breathe. Prove to your nervous system that the chill does not kill you. It is just a feeling that passes. 3. Go on a social media diet. This isn't about deletion, it's about dissociation. For 30 minutes before you post anything, ask, what is my intent? If the answer is to be seen as clever, successful, or happy, you are seeking pellets. Do not post. Only post when the intent is to contribute, to connect meaningfully, or to document for yourself. Silence the pellet dispenser. 4. Build a council of one. This is the most important step. You must become the ultimate source of your own validation. At the end of each day, hold a private council with yourself. Ask, did I act with integrity to my own standards today? Did I move my mission forward? Did I respect my own time and energy? Judge yourself by your own code. Your own approval must become the only approval that matters. You will feel naked. You will feel alone. That feeling is not weakness. It is the feeling of the social drug leaving your system. It is withdrawal. It is progress. The people who matter, the true collaborators, the real partners, the genuine friends, will find you because of your sovereignty, not in spite of it. They are the ones who have also broken their addiction. You will form a new tribe, a tribe of free individuals, not a herd of obedient approval seekers. You have a choice. You can continue to trade your freedom for the warm, suffocating blanket of belonging. Or you can stand in the clean, cold air of your own authority and build a life that is truly, authentically yours. The approval of the crowd is a cheap high. It fades fast and leaves you empty. The respect of your own conscience is a deep fuel. It lasts forever and propels you forward. Approval is a neurological drug that controls you by exploiting your ancient fear of exclusion. You trade your freedom for belonging, pellet by pellet. To break free, you must detox. Audit your approval-seeking behaviors, practice tolerating disapproval, and become the ultimate source of your own validation. The chill of exile is the price of sovereignty. Pay it. But now you face the final and most personal frontier. With the leash dropped and the drug rejected, what remains? The programming is stripped away. The old motivations are gone. This leaves a void. And in that void, you will meet the last and most formidable opponent. Your own untamed, chaotic, and powerful self. The real work begins. Chapter 6. Silence creates authority. You've detoxed from approval. You're broadcasting a new signal. You feel the old walls crumbling. Now you're going to ruin it all with your mouth. You are talking too much. You are explaining. You are justifying. You are filling every silence with nervous noise, handing your power away word by word, sentence by sentence. You are undoing all your progress with a compulsive need to be heard, to be understood, to be validated through sound. Stop it. The most powerful person in any room is not the one speaking. It is the one who is comfortably, intentionally silent. You think authority is taken by the loudest voice. You are wrong. Authority is claimed by the calmest silence. The silent center commands gravity. The frantic noise orbits around it. The one who speaks less is perceived as higher status. Think about every movie, every scene with a true power figure. The king doesn't shout his demands. He whispers, or he says nothing. The underling scrambles, talks fast, fills the space with explanations. The king just watches. His silence is the pressure. His silence is the question. His silence is the statement. This isn't fiction. This is human hierarchy 101. Speech is often a signal of subordination. The subordinate reports, explains, justifies, updates. The superior listens, evaluates, and then delivers a verdict. The more you speak, the more you position yourself as the one reporting. the one seeking approval, the one below. When you walk into a negotiation and immediately start talking about your needs, you are the subordinate stating your case. When your boss asks a difficult question and you dive into a 5-minute justification, you are the subordinate pleading your innocence. When you receive an offer and instantly say thank you, instead of sitting silently and letting it hang in the air, you are the subordinate, grateful for the scrap. Your silence is a cloak of authority. Your words are pieces of that cloak, torn off and given away. The more you say, the more exposed you become. That's the key. You are giving your power away in word-sized pieces. Pauses force others to fill the gap. This is the mechanical truth. Nature abhors a vacuum. Human psychology abhors a silence. In a conversation, silence is a vacuum. Someone will rush to fill it. If you are comfortable in the silence, that someone will always be the other person. You ask a direct question, then you shut up. The silence expands. It becomes heavy. It becomes their problem. They will talk. They will reveal. They will negotiate with themselves. They will often answer their own objections. They will frequently improve their own offer, just to make the silence stop. Your pause is a tool. It is a passive, relentless pressure. It makes the other person work. It makes them volunteer information you would never have thought to ask for. It makes them confront their own uncertainty. But you are terrified of the pause. You think it's awkward. You think it makes you look stupid or unprepared or weak. Wrong. Your discomfort with the pause screams one thing: I am not in control here. Your comfort with the pause broadcasts the opposite. I am unfazed. I have all the time in the world. This is your move. You don't need their permission to be silent. You need the discipline to endure the tension. The tension is where the power shifts. Over-explaining signals weakness. Let's dissect this disease. You send an email. It's 3 paragraphs long, explaining the history, the context, the reasoning, the potential concerns. You get a 1-line reply. Who just positioned themselves as the authority? You set a boundary. I can't work this weekend. Then you instantly follow it with 5 reasons why. Your cousin's visit, your dog's vet appointment, your need for laundry time. You have just told them your boundary is negotiable if they can dismantle your reasons. You've turned a declaration into a debate. Over-explaining is the language of the guilty. It is the language of someone who doesn't believe they have the right to their own position. It is preemptive defense. It is kneeling before you've been asked to kneel. Every extra word after a no is a crack in your armor. Every justification for a price is a doubt in your value. Every unprompted detail in a report is a fear of being questioned. Stop decorating your statements. A bullet doesn't need a ribbon. A no doesn't need a footnote. A price doesn't need an apology. Your word should be clean, hard, and final. The rubble of explanation is where your authority gets buried. Silence makes others negotiate with themselves. This is the ultimate leverage. When you are silent, you are not doing nothing. You are creating a space for the other person's mind to run wild, usually to your benefit. You state your terms. Then you are silent. They will in that silence imagine your walk-away point. They will consider your other options. They will confront their own need for you. They will often talk themselves up to your price, into your timeline, around their own objection. When you jump in to argue their case for them, you save them the trouble. You relieve their anxiety. You become their advocate against yourself. What kind of strategy is that? Your silence is a mirror. It forces them to see their own reflection, their insecurity, their impatience, their need. In the quiet, they hear their own doubts amplified, and they will rush to settle those doubts by giving you what you want. You have a choice. You can be the loud one, working hard to convince, persuade, and explain. Or you can be the silent one, letting the other side convince themselves. Here is your training. The discipline of the pause. This is not about being mute. It is about strategic, intentional silence. You will practice this until it becomes your new default. 1. Master the 2-second rule. After anyone finishes speaking, including you, consciously count to 2 in your head. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Then and only then consider speaking. This kills the reflexive, needy urge to fill space. It makes your eventual speech seem deliberate, considered. 2. Answer with the minimum viable. In any high-stakes interaction, a negotiation, a conflict, a request, formulate your core position in one sentence. Say that sentence, then stop. Do not append because. Do not add. Does that make sense? You are not a teacher. You are a sovereign stating terms. My fee for that is $10,000. The deadline is Friday. I don't attend those meetings. Full stop. 3. Use the echo and wait tactic. When asked a challenging question or faced with an unreasonable demand, do not defend. Simply echo the core of it back with a neutral tone. So, you're asking me to work this weekend for no additional pay. Then wait. Let them sit in the echo of their own request. Let them explain it, justify it, or more often retreat from it. 4. Schedule your silence. In the next 3 low-stakes conversations you have today, with a cashier, a coworker, a family member, practice saying only what is absolutely necessary. Give the bare minimum response. Observe how the other person scrambles to carry the interaction. Feel the dynamic shift. You are no longer the conversational janitor, cleaning up every awkward pause. You will feel a physical anxiety. Your heart will race. Your throat will itch to speak. That is the feeling of the old programming. The good child who is rewarded for being chatty, for explaining itself, for making things smooth, fighting for survival. Let it itch, let it scream, do not scratch it. Your silence is not empty. It is full of your will. It is occupied territory. Your words are the soldiers you only deploy when absolutely necessary. Most of the time, the mere presence of the army. Your quiet, unshakable presence is enough to win the war. That's the key. Your silence is occupied territory. Do not abandon it with nervous chatter. Start treating your words like a precious currency you are unwilling to waste. Spend them only on what matters. The cheaper your words, the cheaper you become. The more expensive your silence, the more valuable you become. Authority is claimed in the silence between words. The compulsive need to explain, justify, and fill space signals weakness and subordination. By mastering the strategic pause, answering with minimal force and letting others negotiate with themselves, you project unshakable control. Your silence is not passive, it is your most active tool. Wear it like armor. But this power has a final test. Silence can establish a boundary, but what happens when that boundary is charged? When the tension you create snaps, you will need a weapon more precise than silence. You will need the power of a single flawless, unanswerable word. Chapter 7. Rules are psychological suggestions. You've learned to be silent, to let the tension build, to hold your ground. Now look down at the ground you're standing on. What is it made of? Is it solid earth? Or is it just a line drawn in the dirt that everyone has agreed to treat like a concrete wall? That line is a rule. And you have been worshiping lines drawn by other people. You've been treating suggestions like statutes. You've been obeying whispers as if they were warnings from God. It's time to see the truth. Most rules are psychological suggestions. They are spells. They work only because you believe in the magic. They have power only because you grant it. A rule isn't a physical force, it's a shared hallucination. It's a story that enough people agree to believe, and that belief becomes the enforcement. The rule itself is papier-mâché. Your fear is the glue that holds it together. Most rules rely on belief, not enforcement. Think about it. How many rules are actually enforced by someone with a weapon? Almost none. The speed limit isn't enforced by a cop behind every sign. It's enforced by the idea of the cop, the fear of the ticket. The tax code isn't enforced by an auditor in your living room. It's enforced by the threat of an audit, the shame of non-compliance. The rule works because you believe the consequence is inevitable. You believe the system is omnipresent. You believe you will be caught. But what if you stopped believing? I'm not telling you to break the law. I'm telling you to see the mechanism. The rule has 2 parts, the stated boundary and the painted monster on the other side. The monster is almost always a phantom. It's a story told to keep you in the yard. You can't charge that much, says who? What happens if you do? A few people might say no. Is that a monster or just a filter? You need a degree to do that. According to whom? Is there a law? Or is it just a guild protecting its territory? You have to work your way up from the bottom, or what? You'll be disliked? You'll confuse the HR department? You have been mistaking standard practice for natural law. You've been confusing policy with physics. One is real. The other is just a consensus of imagination. That's the key. You are obeying ghosts. People self-police more than systems do. This is the brilliant, sinister efficiency of the social rule book. They don't need guards, they have you. You are the guard. You patrol the boundaries of your own life, tasering your own ambitions when they get too close to the fence. You stop yourself from applying for the job because you don't meet 3 out of 10 required qualifications. You stop yourself from pricing your work fairly because you imagine the client's scoffing reaction. You stop yourself from leaving the relationship, the city, the career path, because you hear the voices of your parents, your peers, your own internalized critic, all chanting the rules of conformity. The system is not doing this to you. You are doing it for them. You have internalized the rule book. You carry the rule book in your head. You consult it every morning. You enforce it every day. When you hesitate, that's self-policing. When you over-explain, that's self-policing. When you seek permission, that's self-policing. When you feel guilty for wanting more, that's self-policing. You are the warden and the inmate. And the jail is made of your own belief. The bars are made of I can't and I shouldn't, and what will they think? Fear of consequence is often imagined. Conduct an autopsy on your fear. Pick one rule you feel bound by, not a major law, a social rule, a professional norm, a family expectation. Now ask the brutal questions. 1. What is the worst possible realistic outcome if I break this? Not the fantasy outcome, the realistic one. The realistic one. Usually it's disapproval, discomfort, someone being annoyed, maybe losing a client or a follower. 2. Can I survive that? Yes, you can. You've survived disapproval before. You've survived annoyance. You've lost clients and lived. 3. Is the monster real, or is it a story I've been told to keep me compliant? 9 times out of 10, it's a story. The consequence is social friction, not a real catastrophe. You are living in a haunted house where you painted all the ghosts yourself. You are running from shadows you cast. The fear is the enforcement. The moment you stop fearing the illusory consequence, the rule loses all power over you. It becomes a suggestion, a line in the dirt you can step over. The cage door was never locked. You just never leaned on it. The strongest cages have no bars. The most effective prison is the one the prisoner cannot see, so he never tries to escape. The rules that bind you most tightly are the ones you don't even recognize as rules. They are the way things are. They are common sense. They are reality. Reality is just the collection of rules that enough people have agreed not to question. Your cage is made of these invisible bars. The bar of appropriate, the bar of reasonable, the bar of professional, the bar of responsible. These are not facts. They are opinions masquerading as physics. They are psychological suggestions that have hardened in your mind into steel. You don't need their permission to redefine these words. You don't need a majority vote. Your mission now is to become a rule archaeologist. You must dig up the invisible structures you live within and hold them to the light. Here is your field guide. 1. Identify the invisible fence. Pick one area of frustration, your income, your schedule, your creativity. Ask, what unwritten rule am I obeying here? Is it I must be available 9-5? I must wait to be chosen? I must not out-earn my father? Name the phantom rule. 2. Test the fence. Design a small, safe, deliberate experiment to lean on the rule, not to smash it, to test its strength. If the rule is, I must answer emails within an hour, let 3 non-urgent ones sit for 4 hours. Observe what actually happens. If the rule is, I can't interrupt a meeting with my idea, wait for a pause and say, I have a different perspective, just once. If the rule is, I must dress a certain way for respect, Or one thing that subtly breaks that code. See if the world ends. 3. Document the result. Was the consequence real or social? Was it a tangible penalty or just a weird look? Did the structure collapse or did it just creak? You are collecting data to prove to your own nervous system that the rules are softer than you believed. 4. Redefine one term. Take one of those cage bar words like professional. Write your own definition. What does professional mean for you? Maybe it means clear, on time, and transformative. Instead of wears a suit and uses corporate jargon, then live by your definition. You will feel like an imposter. That feeling is the old cage trying to rezombify you. Ignore it. You have a choice. You can live in the haunted house, jumping at painted ghosts. Or you can turn on the lights and see the walls for what they are, drywall. You can decorate, you can move, you can knock them down. The most powerful sentence you can learn is, says who? When you hear a rule, internal or external, ask it. You need more experience, says who? That's not how it's done, says who? You should be grateful for what you have, says who? That question dissolves the magic. It forces the rule to reveal its source, which is almost always someone else's comfort, someone else's profit, someone else's fear. That's the key. The rule is just someone else's fear fossilized. Your life begins where their fear ends. Your authority is built on the rubble of the rules you stop obeying. The rules that bind you are psychological suggestions, enforced by your own belief and self-policing. Their power comes from imagined consequence. To break free, you must become a rule archaeologist, identifying invisible fences, testing them with small experiments, and redefining the terms of your own life. The cage has no lock. You have been holding the door shut, but this creates a vacuum. If you stop living by their rules, you cannot live by chaos. You must replace the hollow external rule book with something solid, internal, and unbreakable. You must build your own code. Chapter 8. Emotional control precedes mental control. You've seen the cages. You've tested the fences. The rule book is in your hands, ready to be rewritten. Now you will fail. You will walk into a high-stakes moment. A negotiation, a conflict, a critical decision, with your new logic, your new rules, your brilliant plan, and you will watch your mind go blank. Your clever arguments will vanish, your courage will evaporate. You will feel a surge of heat, a tightening in your chest, a voice screaming danger, and you will default, you will obey, you will comply, you will fold. Why? Because you tried to use logic to fight a biochemical fire. You brought a spreadsheet to a street fight. Your opponent wasn't the person across the table. Your opponent was the chemical tsunami in your own body, and you lost. Here is the non-negotiable law. Emotional control precedes mental control. Period. You cannot think your way out of a feeling. You must master the feeling first. Then and only then can your mind work. Logic fails under emotional pressure. Your intellect, your reason, your beautiful analytical mind, it's a fair weather friend. It works great in the library, in the quiet of your study, in the safety of theory. But under threat, under pressure, under the flood of cortisol and adrenaline, it abandons you. It's not a character flaw, it's biology. When your amygdala, the ancient alarm bell in your brain, senses a threat, it doesn't ask your prefrontal cortex for permission. It hijacks it. It shuts down thinking and activates reacting. Blood leaves your brain and goes to your limbs. Your vision tunnels. Your complex thoughts simplify to fight, flight, or freeze. In that state, you are not a strategic human. You are a panicked animal. And a panicked animal is easily controlled. It will take any exit, any deal, any humiliation to make the feeling of threat stop. You've experienced this. The rushed yes to a bad deal because you wanted the anxiety of the negotiation to the angry outburst that destroyed a relationship because the feeling of being disrespected was too hot to hold. The paralyzing fear that kept you from hitting send on the important email. That wasn't a failure of thinking. It was a failure of feeling. You were drowned by the wave before you could even remember how to swim. That's the key. Your brain is a servant to your nervous system. If your nervous system is in chaos, your brain is a useless servant. Fear narrows perception. This is the specific sabotage. When you are emotionally triggered by fear, by anger, by perceived threat, your perception physically narrows. Your visual field constricts. Your range of considered options shrinks to a desperate few. You cannot see the chessboard, you can only see the piece that's threatening you. This is how they trap you. They create a climate of low-grade fear. Fear of missing out, fear of losing your job, fear of social rejection, and keep your perception permanently narrowed. You stop seeing the vast field of possibilities. You only see the safe path, the approved option, the immediate escape from discomfort. You think you're making careful choices. You're not. You're making panic choices in slow motion. You're choosing the life that minimizes your daily fear, not the one that maximizes your potential. Because when you're afraid, only one thing matters: making the fear stop. You will sign any contract, stay in any situation, accept any limitation that promises relief from that gnawing, anxious feeling. Fear isn't just an emotion. It's a perception destroyer. It's a cage for your imagination. Calm people dominate chaotic environments. Now look at the people who win. Not the loud, frantic ones, the calm ones. In a crisis, in a boardroom revolt, in a market crash, there is always one person who is still, who is breathing, who is quiet. That person instantly becomes the leader. Not because they have the best idea yet, but because they are broadcasting the only signal that matters in chaos: safety. Their calm nervous system is a life raft. Everyone else will cling to it. Their calm is not passive. It is aggressive. It is a weapon. It creates a bubble of clarity in the storm. While everyone else is reacting, they are responding. There is a universe of difference. The reactive person is a puppet pulled by emotional strings. The responsive person has cut the strings. They feel the emotion, but they own the space between the feeling and the action. In that space is your power. Control the feeling, control the decision. Every decision you make is an emotional decision first. A logical justification second. You choose the job because it feels safe, then list the reason. You avoid the hard conversation because it feels dangerous, then rationalize why it wasn't the right time. If you want to control the outcome, you must control the emotional climate in which the decision is made. You must become the master of your own internal weather. You don't need their permission to feel calm. You need a drill. This is not therapy. This is tactical training. You are building emotional muscle memory. Here is your drill sergeant protocol. 1. The physiological sigh. This is your instant reset button. The moment you feel the heat rise, the moment your chest tightens, you do this. Inhale deeply through your nose. Then take a second, shorter inhale on top of that, filling your lungs to maximum capacity. Then exhale slowly, completely through your mouth, making a whoosh sound. Do this twice. This is a proven biological circuit breaker. It tells your amygdala the emergency is over. It buys you 10 seconds of clarity. That's all you need. 2. Label the sensation, not the story. Your mind wants to create a drama. He's disrespecting me. This is a disaster. I'm gonna fail. Stop the story. Go physical. Name the sensation in your body. Tightness in my throat. Heat in my face. Pressure in my temples. By labeling the raw sensation, you separate from the emotional narrative. You become an observer of the weather, not a victim of the storm. 3. Adopt a power posture for 90 seconds. If you can get to a bathroom, stand. Put your hands on your hips. Widen your stance. Lift your chin. Take up space. Breathe deeply into your belly for 90 seconds. This isn't faking it. This is forcing a physiological shift. Your body's posture dictates your mind's state. You cannot feel powerless in a power posture. The chemistry will not allow it. 4. Implement the 10-minute rule. You are forbidden from making any permanent decision, sending any emotional email, or issuing any ultimatum while in a heightened state. You must physically remove yourself for 10 minutes. Walk. Do the physiological sigh. Splash water on your face. The emotion will either pass, revealing itself as transient, or it will clarify into a true conviction you can now act on with purpose, not panic. You have a choice. You can be a reactor, jerked around by every emotional current, or you can be a responder, the calm eye of the hurricane. Your goal is not to feel nothing, that's numbness. Your goal is to feel everything, but to be unmoved at the core, to let the waves crash against the rock of your trained calm. The wave is not the ocean. The feeling is not you. Practice this when it doesn't matter. In traffic, in a long line. When your internet is slow, that's your training ground. So when the real pressure comes, the make or break deal, the brutal confrontation, the moment of truth, your calm is not an act. It is a deep trained default. That's the key. Calm is a trained default. It is the foundation of all real power. Logic is useless when your nervous system is in chaos. Fear narrows your vision to a single desperate escape route. True power belongs to those who master their internal state first. By using physiological tools, the breath, posture, and enforced pauses, you create a buffer between feeling and reaction. In that buffer, you find your choice. Control the feeling and you control every decision that follows. But this calm creates a new demand. Once you are no longer jerked around by internal storms, you must point this steady ship somewhere. Towards what? A life built on reaction is over. Now you must build a life from intention. You must design your target. Chapter 9. Identity is the deepest lock. You've mastered the moment. You can control the feeling. You can stand in the silence. You can see the rules as suggestions. Now we arrive at the final boss, the core of the operating system, the deepest, most fortified lock on the door of your prison. Your identity. The story you tell about who you are, the labels you have accepted, the roles you have chosen, or that were chosen for you. This is not just how you act, this is who you believe you are, and it is the most powerful control mechanism ever created. Because if you can be convinced that your cage is part of your skeleton, you will never try to escape. Labels shape behavior more than facts. You are not living your life based on reality. You are living it based on the story of you, and that story is built from labels. I'm not a salesperson. I'm an introvert. I'm not good with money. I'm a procrastinator. I'm the responsible one. I'm the peacekeeper. Each of these is a label. A tiny, seemingly harmless sentence, but each one is a law, a command to your nervous system. It dictates what you will try, what you will avoid, how you will show up. Your behavior is not a response to the world. It is a performance of your label. Facts are irrelevant. If you have the label, I'm not a salesperson, you will avoid conversations that could lead to a sale. You will undercharge. You will hesitate to promote your work, even if you have evidence you could be good at it. Even if you've done it successfully before, the label overrides the data. The label is the script. You are just the actor reading the lines. You don't need their permission to be trapped. You are trapping yourself with your own vocabulary. People defend identities even when harmful. This is where it gets dark. You will cling to an identity that is hurting you. You will fight to protect a story that is poisoning your life. Why? Because to let go of the identity feels like death. It feels like psychic suicide. If you are not the hard-working martyr, then who are you? If you are not the struggling artist, what is your excuse? If you are not the one who always fixes things, what is your value? So you choose the pain of the familiar identity over the terror of the unknown. You stay in the job that drains you because it confirms I'm a provider. You stay in the relationship that diminishes you because it confirms I'm a loyal partner. You stay broke because it confirms I'm not materialistic. You will defend your prison as if it is your home. You will attack anyone who suggests you leave it, because the prison, at least, tells you who you are. Freedom just asks a terrifying question. Who will you become? That's the key. You are afraid of the question mark, so you cling to the period. Roles are prisons disguised as personality. Look at the roles you play: the good son, the dutiful daughter, the reliable employee, the helpful friend, the rebel, the victim, the genius, the mess. You think these are your personality. They are not. They are assignments. They are parts you were given, or parts you took on to survive. to belong, to make sense of the chaos. And you have played them for so long, you've forgotten you're wearing a costume. The role is a complete system. It comes with a script, what you say, a costume, how you look, a set where you operate, and cues how others treat you. When you step into the role of the helper, your script is let me take care of that. Your cue is someone having a problem. You cannot not respond. The role demands its performance, but the role is a closed loop. It allows only certain actions. The rebel cannot build. Once you accept the label, you obey the script. Accept the label shy, and the script commands you to avoid eye contact. Accept the label disorganized, and the script allows you to live in chaos. Accept the label not a leader, and the script has you defer, always defer. Accept the label realist, and the script has you kill every dream with how. The label is the key that locks the door from the inside. You turn it yourself. Every time you say that's just who I am to explain a limitation, you are turning the key. You are sentencing yourself. You have a choice. You always have a choice. But it's not a choice of action. It is a choice of identity. You must choose to be undefined. You must choose to be a verb, not a noun, a process, not a fixed thing. This is the most terrifying and liberating work you will ever do. You must perform an identity autopsy. Here is the procedure. 1. Collect the labels. Take out a notebook. Write down every identity label you carry, the ones you say aloud and the ones you whisper to yourself. Start with the obvious, your job title, your family role, brother, sister, parent. Then dig deeper, the martyr, the people pleaser, the underdog, the perfectionist, the black sheep, the one who always figures it out. Write them all. See them as items on a shelf. They are not you, they are objects you hold. 2. Trace the origin. Pick your 3 most limiting labels. For each, ask, when did I first accept this? Who gave it to me? Did I choose it to please someone? To protect myself? To explain a failure? You'll find most were installed during a moment of pain or pressure. A child's strategy for survival that an adult now mistakes for a soul. 3. Identify the cost. What does this label cost you? Be specific. The nice guy label cost me my authentic opinions, my boundaries, and my ability to confront problems directly. The busy professional label cost me my health, my creativity and time with my family. Write the receipt. See the price you are paying to wear the costume. 4. Stage a temporary defection. This is not about changing forever. It's about a test. For 1 week, choose one label to deliberately disobey. If your label is I'm not athletic, take one 20-minute walk. You are not becoming athletic. You are simply defying the script. If your label is I'm the responsible one, delegate one small task. Do not do it. Let the world not end. Feel the anxiety. That anxiety is the label fighting for its life. It is not you fighting. It is the program. 5. Draft a new purpose-driven statement. Replace the label with a direction. Shift from noun to verb, from being to doing. Instead of I am an anxious person, try I am practicing calm. Instead of I am not a leader, try I am developing my voice. Instead of I am a procrastinator, try I am learning to begin. See the difference? One is a cage. The other is a path. One is a sentence. The other is a story you were writing. You don't need their permission to shed a label. You don't need a ceremony. You just need to stop performing. The moment you stop saying the lines, the role loses its power. The script becomes just paper. That's the key. You are the actor, the scriptwriter, and the director. You have been playing a part written by a committee of ghosts. Fire the committee. Burn the old script. The stage is yours. Your identity is not a fixed truth. It is a collection of labels and roles you have accepted. These stories dictate your behavior more than any fact. To break free, you must conduct an identity autopsy, collecting, tracing, and defying your most limiting labels. You are not a noun to be defined, but a verb in the process of becoming. The old script is over. It is time to write your own. But this leaves you an empty space. With the old identity dismantled, you stand on blank pages. Now you must write something new. You must build a character with intention, not inheritance. This is not about discovering who you are. It is about deciding who you will be. Chapter 10. Distraction is a weapon. You've silenced the internal noise, you've shed the old labels, you stand in the quiet of your own mind ready to build. Now watch as the world unleashes a hurricane of nonsense directly at your face. A notification, a breaking news alert, a new drama. A viral trend, a must-watch show, an urgent email that isn't urgent, a political outrage, a celebrity scandal, a 10-second video of a cat, another notification. This isn't an accident. This isn't just modern life. This is a calculated defense mechanism. The system sees you waking up. It feels the vibration of your stillness, and it responds with its most potent weapon, distraction. Its goal is not to inform you. Its goal is to occupy you, to fill the quiet where questions are born, to soak up the attention that is your only real currency, to keep you from seeing the patterns that would set you free. Busy minds don't question. A mind that is full has no room for inquiry. A schedule that is packed has no space for strategy. They've made you a tenant in your own head, renting out every room to their trivial concern. Think about your state when you're busy. You're reacting. You're putting out fires. You're moving from task to task, notification to notification, crisis to minor crisis. You are in a state of perpetual motion. And a thing in motion follows the path of least resistance. It doesn't change direction. It doesn't ask why it's moving. It just moves. When was the last time your busyness led to a breakthrough? When did your frantic activity create a new reality for you? It hasn't. It's designed not to. It's designed to consume your energy so completely that you never have a spare joule to ask the dangerous questions. Is this the right path? Who does this busyness serve? What would happen if I stopped? Busyness is the anesthesia for ambition. They keep you numb and moving. You mistake velocity for progress. You are a hamster on a wheel, convinced you're traveling because the scenery is a blur. That's the key. You are chasing efficiency in a cage. They are happy to give you a faster wheel. Noise prevents pattern recognition. Your mind is a pattern recognition machine. It is designed to see connections, to predict outcomes, to spot the hidden logic beneath the surface. This is your greatest threat to their system. A pattern recognizer becomes a rule breaker, so they drown the signal with noise. They flood you with information that is urgent but unimportant. They keep the news cycle at a scream. They fracture your attention across 5 screens, 12 tabs, 3 group chats. Your cognitive bandwidth is maxed out processing trivia. There is no space left to see the strings. You cannot see that your financial anxiety follows the same pattern every month, because you're too busy comparing prices on 10 different websites. You cannot see that your relationship drama is a repeat of old scripts, because you're too busy dissecting the latest text message. You cannot see the systemic trap of your job, because you're too buried in the 47 unread emails in your inbox. The noise is a fog. It keeps you focused on the tree directly in front of you, so you never see you're in a forest designed to disorient you. You are looking for a needle in a haystack they keep adding hay to. Entertainment replaces awareness. This is the most seductive layer. It's not just busy work, it's pleasure. It's the endless scroll, the binge watch, the deep dive into sports statistics or celebrity gossip, or the endless philosophical debates about superhero movies. Entertainment isn't evil, but weaponized entertainment is. It is the pacifier for the adult. It is the reward they give you for your compliance. You worked hard at your meaningless job. Here, numb your mind for 4 hours. Forget your power. Forget your dreams. Consume this story about someone else's fictional life. Awareness is uncomfortable. It means seeing the gap between where you are and where you could be. It means feeling the weight of your own unused potential. Entertainment is the escape hatch from that discomfort. It is a voluntary anesthesia. They don't force you to watch. They make the alternative. Sitting alone with your own thoughts, with the silence, with the awareness of your next necessary step. So terrifyingly uncomfortable that you choose the numbness. You click play yourself. A distracted mind is a managed mind. Let's be brutally clear. If your attention is captured, you are conquered. You cannot build your own empire while you're busy touring someone else's. You cannot hear your own inner voice when you are constantly listening to their chorus. A mind that is distracted is a mind that is rented out. You are not the owner. You are the tenant, and they are the landlord collecting your most valuable rent. Your focus is your steering wheel. Whoever holds it drives. Right now, you've handed your steering wheel to app designers, news editors, algorithm programmers, and the petty dramas of people who don't matter. You have a choice. You can continue to let your attention be harvested, your awareness be dulled, your potential be fragmented into a million useless pieces. Or you can declare attention sovereignty. You don't need their permission to be bored. You don't need their content to be calm. Here is your counterattack. Your distraction disarmament protocol. 1. Conduct a distraction audit. For 72 hours, you will track your attention like a forensic accountant. Use a notepad or a simple app. Every time you switch tasks, check your phone, open a new tab, or tune into noise TV, podcast, music as background, you note it. Time trigger what you were avoiding. The data will shame you. You will see the sheer volume of leaks in your focus. This isn't about judgment. It's about mapping the battlefield. 2. Create empty zones. You will build silence into your day like a fortress. Start with 15 minutes twice a day. No phone, no screens, no input. No music, no podcasts. Just you, your breath, and the inside of your own skull. You will want to claw your skin off. The urge to reach for the pacifier will be physical. This is withdrawal. Sit in it. The emptiness is not your enemy. It is the blank page where your own thoughts, your own plans, your own genius will begin to write themselves. 3. Implement the one-touch rule. For digital inputs, you get one touch. See an email. You must either delete it, do it if under 2 minutes, defer it to a specific time block, or delegate it. No reading and rereading. See a notification, deal with its intent fully, or turn it off forever. This stops the endless, energy-sapping cycle of semi-processing the same trivialities over and over. 4. Practice directed focus. You will take one 90-minute block each day, your power block, and you will defend it with your life. In this block, you work on one thing, the one project that moves the needle. You turn off all notifications. You put your phone in another room. You use a physical timer. For 90 minutes, you are a monk. This is not about productivity. This is about retraining your mind to tolerate depth, to resist the addictive itch of the shallow. 5. Curate your inputs with violence. You are not a passive consumer. You are a curator of your own mind. Every podcast, newsletter, social account, and news source must answer one question. Does this directly help me build the person I am becoming? If the answer is no, you unsubscribe, unfollow, block. You do not keep up with the world. You let the irrelevant world fade into static. You become ignorant of things that don't matter so you can become a master of what does. The silence will be deafening at first. Then it will become deafeningly clear. In that clarity, you will hear your own direction. You will see the patterns. You will have the mental space to connect the dots that lead to your freedom. That's the key. Clarity is the precursor to power. Distraction is the fog they sell you to keep you lost. Distraction is not a byproduct of modern life. It is a weaponized tool to prevent questioning, pattern recognition, and awareness. A distracted mind is a managed mind. To reclaim your sovereignty, you must conduct a distraction audit, create empty zones of silence, and defend your focus with violent intention. Your attention is your steering wheel. Take it back. Now, with a clear mind and a quiet field of vision, you face the true work. The distractions are gone. The old identity is stripped. The rules are seen as suggestions. There is nothing left to blame. The void is in front of you. It is time to build something real from the ground up. This is where creation begins. Chapter 11. Power never argues. You have the clarity. You have the focus. You see the game. Now you're going to lose it all by trying to win a debate. You will state your position. Someone will push back. You will feel a jolt of adrenaline. the need to be right, to be understood, to convince them. And you will open your mouth. You will marshal your facts. You will build your logical fortress. You will argue. And in that moment, you will have surrendered your power. You will have stepped down from the throne of authority and into the mud pit of conflict, where everyone gets dirty and nobody wins. Here is the immutable law you must brand into your mind. Power never argues. Power observes. Power decides. Power decides. Power acts. Power moves on. It does not explain itself. It does not defend its position. It does not seek consensus. It does not need to be understood. The moment you begin to argue, you have announced to the room that your authority is negotiable, that your position is up for review, that you require their agreement to proceed. Arguments signal equal footing. Think about it. You argue with peers, you argue with siblings, you argue with people you perceive as your equals. You do not argue with a judge's gavel. You do not argue with a general's order. You do not argue with gravity. When you engage in argument, you are implicitly granting the other party equal status. You are saying, your opinion on this matter is as valid as mine, so let's duel with logic. You have voluntarily descended to their level. You have made it a fair fight. And a fair fight is where the unprepared and the unworthy can drag you down. The person with true power does not enter the arena of debate. They set the terms of the arena itself. They are the architect, not the gladiator. That's the key. You are the architect, not the gladiator. Stop fighting in the pits you were meant to design. Authority moves, it doesn't explain. Watch a CEO. They don't call a company-wide meeting to explain the intricacies of a new strategic pivot. They announce the pivot. The underlings scramble to understand, to justify, to explain it to each other. The CEO is already on to the next decision. Watch a skilled parent. They don't engage in a philosophical debate with a toddler about why bedtime is necessary. They say it's bedtime. They enact a ritual. The toddler may protest, but the parent is unmoved, already moving through the steps. The action is the argument. Your need to explain, to justify, to make everyone get it before you move. That's not leadership. That's insecurity wearing a mask of collaboration. It's a plea for validation disguised as communication. You are waiting for a committee vote on your own life. The committee is never in session. Or worse, it's filled with people who have no stake in your success, no vision for your future, and every incentive to keep you where you are. You don't need their permission. You don't need their understanding. You need their compliance or you need their absence, but you do not need to convince them. Justification weakens position. Justify, to show or prove to be right or reasonable. Ask yourself, to whom? Who is this judge you are pleading your case before? Every time you append a because to your statement, you chip away at its foundation. You are building a back door for them to enter and dismantle your will. I'm raising my fees because my costs have gone up. Now they can argue about your costs. I can't make the meeting because I have a doctor's appointment. Now they can question the urgency of your appointment. I'm starting this business because I want freedom. Now the pragmatic can lecture you on the risks. Your because is a handle you give them to grab onto. A lever to pry you open. State the fact. Declare the decision. The reasoning is none of their business. Your internal calculus is your kingdom. Guard its borders. A no followed by silence is unassailable. A no followed by because is an invitation to siege. The one defending is already beneath. This is the stark hierarchy of social dynamics. In any interaction, the person who is explaining, defending, or justifying has already positioned themselves beneath the person who is questioning, criticizing, or simply observing. The defender is in the subordinate position. They are the one being audited. The questioner holds the gavel. By engaging in defense, you have accepted the role of the accused. You are in the dock, pleading your case. You cannot be powerful from the defendant's table. Your mother questions your life choices. You launch into a detailed defense of your career path. You have just made her the judge. You have placed her above you. Your client balks at your price. You immediately list all the reasons it's worth it. You have just made them the evaluator of your worth. A troll online insults your work. You craft a 500-word rebuttal. You have just confirmed that their opinion matters enough to command your time and energy. When you defend, you worship. You are worshiping their judgment. You are saying their critique has weight, has authority, has a right to be answered. Stop worshiping. You have a choice. You can spend your life building a library of flawless arguments to defend your existence to a phantom jury. Or you can live in such a way that defense becomes unnecessary. Here is your training. The No Justify Protocol. This is a drill in supreme authority. You will practice it in low-stakes environments to build the muscle for high-stakes moments. 1. The one-sentence wall. When faced with a challenge, a request, a criticism, you are allowed exactly one sentence of response. This sentence must be a declaration, not an explanation. Practice crafting them. Instead of, "I can't take on that project because my plate is so full and I'm already swamped. And Johnson needs the Q4 reports," say, "I'm at capacity, I cannot take that on." Instead of, "My price is $5,000 because it includes research strategy and 3 rounds of revisions," say, "The investment for that work is $5,000. Full stop. The wall is up. The negotiation is over." 2. Master the acknowledgement and redirect. When someone criticizes or questions you, do not engage with the content. Acknowledge its existence, then instantly redirect to action or exit. "I hear you've got a concern. Let me know what you decide." Then be silent. That's one perspective. "My decision stands and noted." The next step is X. You are not arguing the point. You are acknowledging a sound was made and then moving your pieces on the board. You treat their argument as background noise, not as a signal you must process. 3. Implement the 24-hour defense delay. The instant you feel the heat of defensiveness rising, in an email, a text, a conversation, you impose a 24-hour embargo on any response that contains a justification. Write the furious detailed defense in a draft. Get it all out, then delete it. Wait 24 hours. In 99% of cases, the need to send it will have vanished. You will see the act of defense itself as the true defeat. 4. Adopt the act, Don explained mantra. For 1 week before any significant action, ask, "Can I simply do this without announcing or explaining it? Can you start the project without the big social media reveal? Can you change your routine without telling your doubtful friend? Can you enforce a boundary without a preemptive speech?" Your actions completed are the only argument that carries real weight. Let your results do the talking. The talking you do beforehand is usually just seeking permission or cushioning for potential failure. You will feel a profound sense of rudeness. You will feel cold. You will feel like you're breaking social contracts. Good. Those contracts were written to keep you manageable, polite, and in a state of perpetual justification. You are breaking a different contract, the one that leased your power to the opinions of others. That's the key. Your power is leased out through your justifications. Evict the tenants. Power is not loud, it is quiet. It is not clever, it is final. The storm argues with the mountain, howling, throwing rain and wind. The mountain remains. The storm exhausts itself. The mountain endures. Be the mountain, not the storm. True power does not argue, explain, or justify. Arguments grant equal footing. Justification weakens your position. The defender is always beneath. To command authority, you must master the one-sentence declaration, acknowledge without engaging, and let your actions be your only argument. Stop leasing your power through explanation. Your silence is your sovereignty. Now the landscape is clear. The distractions are silenced. The arguments are pointless. You are no longer defending old ground. This means the war for your mind is over. A new phase begins, not defense but creation. It is time to build your own territory, with its own rules from the ground up. The blank page awaits. Chapter 12. Most limits are social, not real. You have stopped arguing. You have stopped justifying. Your power is no longer leased out. Now you stand at the edge of the map. You see the territory beyond, the life you actually want, and you freeze, not because of a lack of skill, not because of a lack of resources, but because of a ghost, a phantom, the terrifying specter of what they will think. The final cage is not in your mind. It's in the imagined minds of others. The most rigid limits you face are not made of steel or law. They are made of glances, whispers, and raised eyebrows. They are social fiction. And you have been treating fiction like physics. It's time to expose the truth. Most limits are social, not real. The barrier between you and the life you want is not a wall, it's a crowd. A crowd of imagined people holding a judgment you have not even received yet. You are serving a life sentence in a prison where the only guards are phantoms of your own creation. Fear of judgment outpaces fear of failure. You would rather fail quietly in an approved way than succeed loudly in a way that draws attention. Think about that. The pain of potential embarrassment is more motivating to you than the pain of guaranteed regret. You don't launch the business because you're afraid it might fail. No, you're afraid people might see you try and then fail. You'd rather never try and have a quiet, respectable excuse. You don't wear what you want because you're afraid it won't look good? No, you're afraid someone might think you're trying too hard, or not enough, or that you're strange. You don't ask for the raise because you're afraid of a no. No, you're afraid your boss will think you're greedy or delusional, or that you'll make the meeting awkward. Failure is factual. You can learn from it. You can rebuild. Judgment is a story. It lives in the murky world of other people's opinions, which you cannot control and which you consistently exaggerate. You are letting the fear of a vague social story prevent you from engaging with concrete, solvable reality. That's the key. You are choosing the phantom over the problem. Social consequences are exaggerated. Conduct a simple audit. Think of the last 3 times you broke a small social rule. You showed up late. You wore something unconventional to an event. You voiced a disagreement. What was the actual tangible consequence? Did the police come? Were you fired? Were you physically injured? No. At worst, someone was mildly annoyed. Someone gave you a look. Someone might have talked about you for 45 seconds later that day. The world did not end. The structure of your life did not collapse. Now, think of the last 3 times you wanted to break a bigger rule but didn't. You wanted to quit the soul-crushing job. You wanted to end the draining relationship. You wanted to move across the country. What was the consequence of not doing it? The consequence was another year of your life gone, another piece of your spirit eroded. The slow, quiet death of your potential. The real tangible cost was paid by you. In the currency of your one irreplaceable life, you have the math backward. You are overestimating the cost of social friction, which is temporary, survivable noise, and underestimating the cost of social compliance, which is your entire future. The social consequence is almost never what you fear. The judgment is never as loud or as lasting as you imagine. People are too busy worrying about their own imaginary judgments to dedicate real energy to yours. You are a side character in their movie, just as they are in yours. Start acting like the lead in your own. Freedom begins when approval loses value. This is the turning point. The moment you internalize that the applause is not just fickle, but worthless, the chains fall off. When the opinion of the tribe ceases to be your currency, their rules cease to have authority. Your freedom is not granted by a new law. Your energy must go toward the objective. Building the business, writing the book, achieving the physical goal, creating the family life. Anyone who is not actively helping with the objective is part of the terrain. Like weather or topography, you don't argue with the weather. You prepare for it, and you keep moving. Social judgment is bad weather. Put on your coat and keep walking. You have a choice. You can spend your life in a permanent low-grade quarantine, afraid of catching someone's disapproval. Or you can accept that disapproval is a mild cold, and your mission is a vital organ. Protect the organ. Let the colds come and go. That's the key. Disapproval is a common cold. Your mission is a vital organ. Stop treating sniffles like cancer. The imaginary limits will break. They will pop like soap bubbles the moment you walk through them. And on the other side, you will find a strange emptiness. Not fear, freedom. And freedom is just empty space. It is pure potential. The most paralyzing limits are social fictions, the exaggerated fear of judgment and disapproval. These imaginary walls shatter the moment you test them. Freedom is seized when you transfer value from the approval of the tribe to the integrity of your own mission. Stop treating social whispers as real walls. They are tissue paper. Walk through. Now the landscape is cleared. The phantoms are gone. The old imaginary fences are down. You stand in an open field of your own making. This is the moment of truth. An empty field is not a life, it is potential. What will you build here? With the old rules broken, you must now become the architect of your own world. This is the final skill. Chapter 13. Awareness is the first act of disobedience. You have cleared the field. The phantoms are gone. The imaginary fences are down. Now do not move. Do not start building. Do not start planning. Do not rush to fill the silence. If you move now, you will rebuild the prison from memory. You will use the same old blueprints, drawn by the same old architects. You will construct a slightly nicer cage and call it freedom. There is a step before action, a step more powerful than any goal, any plan, any effort. It is the step that makes all true change possible. It is the act of pure, ruthless, unattached awareness. Awareness is not thinking. It is not analyzing. It is not judging. It is seeing. It is the silent witness, the observer behind the thoughts, and it is the most subversive, dangerous force in the universe. Because the system you live in does not fear your effort. It fears your attention. It fears you seeing it. Seeing the mechanism weakens it. A machine works best when its workings are hidden. A magician's trick is powerful only as long as you don't see the trapdoor, the mirror, the hidden thread. The moment you see the mechanism, the illusion is broken. It becomes a curiosity, not a power. Your obedience was a magic trick. The authority of your boss, the pull of social media, the weight of guilt, the lure of approval. These were illusions sustained by your unseeing participation. The moment you shine the light of your awareness on them, they begin to wither. They become objects. You see the strings. And once you see the strings, you can no longer believe you are dancing of your own free will. You don't need to fight the machine. You just need to see the gears. The fight is a distraction. The seeing is the defeat. That's the key. The fight is the distraction. The seeing is the defeat. Conscious patterns lose their grip. Think of your most ingrained habit, the morning scroll, the nail biting, the defensive apology, the procrastination ritual. It operates in the dark. It is an automatic program. You are halfway through it before you even know you've begun. Now, imagine simply watching it. Not stopping it, not judging it, just observing it with cold, clinical curiosity. Oh, look, my hand is reaching for the phone. There's a feeling of emptiness in my chest that triggers it. Now my thumb is scrolling. My eyes are glazing over. In that moment of observation, something miraculous happens. You are no longer the pattern. You are the space in which the pattern is happening. You have created a separation between your conscious self and the automatic program. The program needs your unconscious participation to run. Your awareness is the withdrawal of that participation. The pattern might still complete its cycle, but it is now weak. It is exposed. It is no longer you. It is just a thing that happens, like a cough or a shiver. And a thing that is seen can be changed. A thing that operates in the dark owns you. Control relies on unconscious participation. This is the master key. Every system of control, from a toxic relationship to a corporate bureaucracy to a societal norm, depends on one thing: you running its software without checking the code. It needs you to react, not respond, to feel, not question, to obey the trigger without seeing the finger that pulls it. Your anger when someone disrespects you, that's a program running. The system installed the button labeled disrespect. They push it, you react. They control you. Your anxiety when you think about quitting your job, that's a program running. The system installed the fear of uncertainty. It triggers. You freeze. It controls you. Your compulsive need to check for likes? That's a program running, the system engineered a dopamine loop. You crave, you check, it controls you. But the instant you become aware of the program as a program, the control shatters. You see the button. You see the finger moving toward it. And you have a choice. Do I let this trigger me today? The program is now a suggestion, not a command. You have a choice, and awareness is what delivers that choice to you. The spell breaks when named. Magic is just unnamed physics. A curse is just a story you haven't read aloud. Your limits, your fears, your obedience. These are spells cast with words and repetitions. And a spell's power is contained in its secrecy and its unquestioned presence. The moment you name it, you break it. Name the guilt. This is the installed guilt program around money. Name the fear. This is the fear of exile from the tribe. Name the rule. This is the invisible rule that I must be endlessly productive. Name the identity. This is the helper role I am performing. You are not the spell, you are the linguist studying the ancient text. You are the scientist noting the reaction. By naming it, you place it outside of yourself. You objectify it. It is no longer the air you breathe. It is a specimen under glass. Your entire life, you have been whispering spells over yourself without knowing it. I'm not good enough. I can't handle conflict. It's too late. Awareness is the act of stopping the whisper, hearing the words, and realizing, I am the one saying this. And if I am the one saying it, I am the one who can stop. This is not positive thinking. This is precision thinking. You are moving from a blurred emotional reality into a high-definition reality of cause and effect. You are mapping the prison. Here is your training. The practice of pure observation. For the next 7 days, your primary job is not to change. It is to see. You are an anthropologist in the strange culture of your own life. 1. Implement the pause and label drill. Set a random alarm on your phone 5 times a day. When it goes off, you freeze. You ask, what program is running right now? Observe your thought, your emotion, your posture, your environment. Give it a simple, neutral label. Observing the seeking distraction program. Observing the shoulder tension pattern. Observing the internal critic narrative. Observing the social scanning habit. Checking how others are reacting to you. Do not change it, just label it. This is weightlifting for your awareness muscle. 2. Conduct a trigger audit. For 1 day, carry a small notebook. Every time you feel a strong negative emotion, annoyance, anxiety, shame, resentment, you note it. Then you play detective. What was the immediate trigger? A person's tone, an email subject line, a thought about the future. Write down the trigger. You are not blaming, you are mapping the wiring. You will see that 80% of your inner turmoil is caused by a handful of predictable external triggers. They are pushing your buttons. You are now learning the layout of a control panel. 3. Observe your own rituals of compliance. Pick one routine part of your day, your commute, a weekly meeting, your social media check. This time, go through it not as a participant, but as a journalist embedded behind your own eyes. Notice the micro acts of obedience, the slight reformatting of your opinion to fit in, the tuning of your body language to appear non-threatening, the unasked for apology, the laugh when nothing is funny. See the performance. Do not judge it. See it as a survival strategy you once adopted. The simple act of seeing it robs it of its necessity. 4. Practice gap awareness. Between a trigger and your reaction, there is a microsecond gap. Your mission is to widen it. Start with breath. When challenged, insulted, or pressured, your first command is, feel the breath in your nostrils, just for one full inhale and exhale. In that gap, awareness lives. In that gap, you will see the old program fire up the anger, the fear, the compliance. And in that gap, you will have a millisecond of choice. Widen the gap and you widen your freedom. You will feel like you are moving in slow motion. Good. You have been living at the speed of reaction. Slow motion is the speed of sovereignty. That's the key. Slow motion is the speed of sovereignty. Awareness is not passive. It is the most active state there is. It is a laser. It cuts through the fog of automatic living. It is the first act of true disobedience because it says, I will not simply run the code. I will read it. Awareness is the foundational act of rebellion. Simply seeing the mechanisms of control, the triggers, the patterns, the unconscious programs, weakens their power. Control relies on your unconscious participation. By practicing pure, non-judgmental observation, you withdraw that participation. You name the spell, and in naming it, you break it. The prison cannot hold a prisoner who sees the walls. But awareness alone is not the end. It is the beginning. It clears the fog. Now you see the battlefield. You see the old programs lying dormant, the triggers disarmed. This leaves you with a profound and terrifying responsibility. What will you do in this clear space? Seeing the strings is not enough. You must now decide. Do you remain a puppet who sees the strings, or do you pick them up and become the puppeteer of your own life? The choice to act is the final obedience to break. In the end, you were never weak. You were trained to wait, to ask, to doubt yourself. Forbidden psychology is not about domination. It is about recognition. Once you see how obedience is installed, you choose differently, calmly, deliberately, without rebellion or noise. If this audiobook disrupted something inside you, that is awareness activating. Stay with it, revisit these ideas, and if you want more knowledge they don't teach compliant minds, support this channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing this audiobook with someone who's ready to wake up. Control fades when awareness enters the room.